All right. As most of you know, Corey Haim passed away earlier this year. So, in remembrance of him, I went out, got my old VHS copy of The Lost Boys, dusted it off, threw it in my VCR, and ran it this evening. So, tonight I will be talking about the 1987 horror comedy movie, The Lost Boys. Now, some other horror comedy movies you may have heard of. There's The Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, Shaun of the Dead are some that come right off the top of my head. Um, those are some really good horror comedies. So if you're looking something like The Lost Boys, I'd definitely check those out. Now, The Lost Boys, directed by Joel Schumacher, starring the Coreys, Corey Haim and Corey Feldman. Now, Joel Schumacher, most of you might recognize that name because he was the one who killed the Batman franchise with Batman and Robin. I mean, seriously, who puts nipples on the Batsuit? Christopher Nolan came around though and resurrected the Dark Knight with Batman Begins, which happened to be written by David S. Goyer, who wrote all three Blade movies and directed Blade Trinity. You really can't throw a stone in Hollywood without having someone who had something to do with a vampire movie. Coincidence? I think not. Although, to Schumacher's credit, the original Lost Boys script was more like the Goonies with a bunch of middle school vampires. I'm pretty sure I would have hated that film. Speaking of the Lost Boy films, there's a sequel that was straight to DVD. It was released 21 years after the original, and it was called Lost Boys The Tribe. Then they're making a third movie called The Thirst, Lost Boys The Thirst, which is coming out direct to DVD as well later sometime this year. Now, The Lost Boys had two really good actors in it that you also may know beside the Coreys. There was Kiefer Sutherland, who plays the amazing Jack Bauer, and then there's Jason Patric, who was in Speed 2, he was also in Narc, and he's also going to be in the new superhero comic flick, The Losers. I don't know much about it, but I hear it's going to be really good. Um, for you, those who don't know, Lost Boys, reference to Peter Pan, the kids who never grow up. They kind of do what they want to do. They govern themselves. I mean, who wouldn't want to live that life? Being 20 something, early 30s, just running around, having the good looks and all that, just living the life as a 20-year-old, 30-year-old for forever. I mean, how cool would that be? Um, the movie. Michael and Sam, they move from Arizona to California. And there's these other two kids, Edgar and Alan Frog. They run this comic book shop. Sam befriends Edgar, which the two Coreys, and then you have Michael befriending David, who was the leader of the vampire gang. Michael drinks the blood of a vampire, which turns him into a half vampire. I'll get back to that. The movie itself, it has a lot of the traditional vampire myths and and information like holy water and the ability to not enter a home without permission, which is actually a really big key to the story. Now, the holy water. They used holy water filled squirt guns to fend off vampires. Very cool. Now, if you remember, Dusk Till Dawn does the same thing, which I think might be a little homage to the Lost Boys. Quentin Tarantino loves doing stuff like that. Um, if you watch the movie, there's this comic book shop, the two that Edgar and Alan run. It's real. It's called the Atlantis Fantasy World. It's a real comic book shop. I really want to go to this place. Now, the original one was destroyed in the earthquake in '89, but the shop is still around and it's alive and kicking, and I really want to go. And it's run by the same guy who owned it then. And if you watch the movie, if you look at the background, the guy playing the pinball machine, he's the guy who owns it. I want to go and I want to meet this guy. I think it would be really, really cool. Um, the half vampire. I don't get it. Why half vampire? I mean, it seems like a lot of vampire stories try to sell the idea of vampire blood kind of imbues the drinker with powers. It makes them more powerful. I mean, seriously, True Blood, V, I mean, come on. Who who believes in that stuff? I mean, although now that I think about it, maybe it's one of those things that Christianity ripped off of vampire folklore. I mean, Catholics drink the blood of their master on a weekly basis as a sign of their allegiance. I mean, I'm not sure what powers you get from drinking Christ's blood, even though it's not really Christ's blood, is it? It's cheap wine. I mean, come on. They're just pretending. Look, if you want to know more powers of blood, you should really check out this really cool movie. It's called Demon Knight. It's really good. It's about um, people becoming martyrs and this key. It's I don't want to give it away. Just go out, check it out. It's really good. Now, the most important part of Lost Boys of this movie is to me that it focus on the temptation of immortality, especially immortality in your early 20s, late 20s, early 30s. I think it's one of those things that makes being a vampire so attractive to me and to so many people. I just wish it wasn't so bloody and gory, and I don't think as attractive it is to be a vampire, I don't think I could survive being a vampire, because I mean I would actually have to bite people and then drink the blood, and it's just I can't do that. It just sends shivers up my spine. But it's still immortality in my late 20s as I am now. How cool would that be? I can't get over it. It's awesome. Anyways, that's all I got for tonight. Thanks for watching. Until next time.